Subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos. What's up guys, my name is MRJMAN and today's video, I'm going to talk about how did the British occupy the Philippines because many of today's Filipinos don't really know much about it. Before we start this video, I want to know you in the comments, what is your favorite country to visit? For me, it's Bolivia because of Salar de Uyuni. Just beautiful guys, check it out on the Googles. Or Googles I should say. Googles I should... Whatever. Just search it on Google. So to better understand the British occupation of Manila, you need to know about the 7 Years' War. And no, it's not about your wife arguing for 7 years, who's going to throw the trash, or that movie Brad Pitt living in Tibet for 7 years. Go watch that movie, it's awesome. It's an actual war that ravaged Europe from May 17, 1756 to February 15, 1763. Historians dub this as the very first global war before the two world wars ever happened 2 centuries later. So all you need to know about this is that Britain's fighting against France on who's the dominant power in Europe. These are Britain's allies and these are France's allies, which included Spain. Okay, that's good and all, but what did the Philippines have to do with this, you might ask? Now back to the video. On August 15, 1761, before Spain joined the war, both her and France signed the Treaty Compact, or in French, Le Pacte de la Famille, which coverts Spain's preparation to go to war against the British Empire. As a result of the treaty, the British declared war on the Spaniards in January 4, 1762, and on January 18, Spain followed suit, entering her into the conflict. On January 6, British Prime Minister John Stuart, no not that John Stewart, there you go, and the cabinet approved to attack Manila. Manila at the time was an important city to many European colonists as it's the only trading access to Chinese goods and China itself, and it's the big deal for the British East India Company if they get the archipelago under their sphere of influence. The cabinet appointed Colonel William Darper, who was stationed in Madras, British India, to lead the charge as Brigadier General, and the East India Company authorized to administer the island by putting Dawson Drake in the governor's seat. To explain the battle up so you don't get bored from my lecture words, I'm going to summarize in 3, 2, 1. The Brits arrived in Manila Bay on September 24th, securing Fort Awai. I hope I say that right. On the 26th, they went to Pueblo de Malate, converting the local churches to forts. 4 days later, they surrounded the city, cutting off Spanish supplies. In the 2nd of October, they shelled the fortified Intramuros. On the 5th, the Brits entered and burned parts of the city. The following day, they took and secured the city. Finally, on October 10th, the Brits defeated the Spanish troops and captured Cavite. The reason why the Spaniards were poorly beaten by the British, just like a snap of a finger, is because, get this, the Spanish army was commanded by this guy, an archbishop. Yup, you hear me right, a priest commanded the troops, and what's worse, he's also the governor of the island. Well, temporary governor for the time being. It's just so bizarre for me, I can't comprehend what's reality anymore. Okay, why a priest? Because this handsome dude, who was originally going to command the Spaniards, but he was stuck in Cuba due to the British attacking the island. So yeah, that sucks. Following the collapse of the Spanish army, the British secured the island under their supervision by initiating a pillage towards the citizens of the colony which lasted 40 hours, with violent intentions. Dawson Drake assumed office as British governor of Manila in the 6th of November. The only problem is that Drake didn't get much assets from his governance, so he established his own war council, which enables him to imprison anyone by ordering the arrest of many Spaniards, Creoles, Mestizos, Chinese, and natives for siding with the enemy. Infuriated, the Real Audiencia de Manila of España dispatched this guy as lieutenant governor and visitor general and sent to Bulacan to form a resistance against the British. On October 8, Anda, who's the name of the guy, wrote a letter informing to the Archbishop that he's now the new governor and the position is under the control of the Council of the Indies, and he must surrender his position to Anda. The Archbishop refused to give up his title and does not recognize Anda as Governor General. Keep in mind, the refusal is part of the Archbishop's agreement with the British, so no jokes there, of course. The agreement states that Catholicism and its episcopal government, the citizens, and properties will be given freedom and rights under British administration, while Real Audiencia will carry on governing their posts in the Philippines, but the cost is Spain will pay expenses. However, Anda rejects to identify the agreement, believing the Archbishop has been manipulated by the Brits to negotiate the agreements. Therefore, he will not negotiate with the Anglo army until he is labeled as the Governor General of the Philippines. This in turn led to Anda starting organizing an army, raising about 10,000 combatants, mostly from indigenous natives. Although they are inadequate in weaponry, they're still effective to face against the invaders, which successfully confined the Brits in Manila and Cavite. On November 26, in response, Captain Backhouse's units scattered Anda's army but managed to escape from Pasig. Following that, they established a post so they could control over Laguna de Bay. The next year, January 19, 1763, the British sent Captain Sledge to support 400 Chinese to take over Bulacan after Anda massacred many Chinese in the province. The Anglo army took over Manolos on the 22nd but were crushed by Anda and his army in Pampanga. 16 days later, they withdrew from the province. While this was going on, the Cornish and the British East Indies Squadron left the Philippines, leaving the British frigates HMS Falmouth and Seaford in Philippine shores. By the spring of 1763, the British, despite to end Anda's attacks, sent back Captain Backhouse to put a stop his guerrilla warfare. However, the British ended the operation when on August 26, the draft of the Treaty of Paris is inducted. In the treaty, it abides that every conquest that are not known around the time of the signing will be returned to the original owners. But however, fighting in the Philippines still continued. Although the British issued their withdrawal from the island, their ships would not arrive for 6 months, which Anda took the opportunity to blockade Manila, and in the final days, the British soldiers abandoned the city.
Oh, hi. I don't know why the video just transitioned to me, but ooh, transition to the next section. Ooh. Okay, that's weird.
After 7 years of warfare in Europe and the rest of the world, the Treaty of Paris has been finalized on February 10, 1764, effectively ending the 7 Years' War. After the death of the Archbishop in January 1764, the invaders circulate a letter to the Real Audiencia which officially recognized Anda as the legitimate governor of the Philippines. In turn, Anda signed an armistice with the Brits, addressing from the signings that the invaders immediately depart Manila by March. The British finally gave orders to leave the city when Spanish Brigadier Don Francisco de la Torre arrived from London to secede Manila back to Spain. Dawson Drake and the British Army eventually left the Philippines on March 29, 1764. Although the British did not left any significant events in our country, they do however left us with many Indian soldiers, also known as sepoys, that have left or abandoned the British forces and settled in cities that are known today as Pasig, Taytay, and Cainta Rizal.
Thanks for watching this video, and if you enjoy it, be sure to like, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget turn on notifications to get more videos of me. And also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and salamat sa mga lahat na nanood. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, bye. And also, I don't know why my eyes keep twitching, but I'll see you guys next time. So, cue card transition. You can check like videos right now, and there's no pretty much to say, but yeah, bye.